I think we're live. I think we're broadcasting. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Allegiance Way Daily Dose. I'm Amy Lassen. We're going to talk today about virtual listings. How can you create a rapport, create a relationship with a potential seller, and go through all of the steps to provide them high quality service, list their property, and get it sold. Lot to ask for a 30-minute broadcast. I'm going to do my best to get through all the high level stuff, and as always, we will provide you a checklist on theallegianceway.com. So let's dig right in. As always, forgive me that I have to check my notes. We are creating all of this content on a daily basis, and so it's not something that I'm memorizing every 24 hours. So bear with me as I check my notes and make sure that I don't forget anything. So one of the first things I think we should all keep in mind is that there are huge differences between how you list virtually and how you list when you have the ability to interact with the seller in person. But in other ways, all the steps are the same. And by that I mean, please don't neglect to do your job. Don't skip parts because it didn't seem necessary. So we still need to be making sure that we're doing all the research and all the communicating that we would do if we were able to interact with our sellers and potential buyers and buyers agents in person. So I'm going to go over the basics, the high level, what are those steps that we need to not forget, and those of you who have taken my listing classes before, these will be familiar. So even with physical distance, you still need to do the pre-listing interview, the pre-appointment interview, do your due diligence on the property and the sellers. You need some sort of pre-listing communication. You need to be setting expectations for them for what they can expect from the formal listing appointment, which we're going to do virtually, and I'm going to show you how. You need to do a thorough listing appointment. You need to make sure that you have not glossed over things, and you need to have really good samples of all your work, be able to show them what you're going to do, and have a strong listing marketing strategy. Here's a place where you can really distinguish yourself and sharpen your tools with being an online marketer. You need a plan for negotiating offers, navigating buyers' due diligence in these crazy times, and then what would closing look like, special touches throughout. We're going to go over all of these things. So I'm going to start at the beginning. Let's see, sorry, I jumped ahead very quickly. I'm going to start at the beginning with the pre-appointment interview. All right, so someone says to you, Amy, we're thinking we would like to sell our house. The first thing we need to do is ask more questions, and I've said this in previous episodes of the Daily Dose. I've said all of us could do a better job of asking questions. So someone says, Amy, is it a good time to sell? We really need to sell for whatever reason. Ask them lots more questions, find out what's weighing on their minds, find out why there's opportunities here for them, and then show them what their opportunities are in the market. And I'll show you how you can present that information straight from your MLS to them. So make sure you ask lots of questions and then go through the formal pre-appointment interview process. The seller intake form is available on theallegianceway.com. You want to not forget the basics, right? You want to ask them all the basic things about their property and be prepared for the appointment. Make sure that both sellers or whomever is on title will be available to make the decision about listing and will be able to hear your presentation. All those things that you need to do normally, you'll need to do virtually too. Be very, very thorough in your due diligence of the property and even the sellers, right? You can Google the property, you can Google the sellers, look at previous MLS listings, all the things that we know to do to prepare for any listing. Don't cut corners. Come to this virtual listing presentation as prepared as you ever would be. You've looked at the Google Earth. Maybe you even drove by, right? Did a short video. Make sure that you know as much as possible about the property. You've pulled permits, whatever that might be in your markets. You are ready to talk to them and prove that you're an expert on the neighborhood and as much as possible on their property. Then you want to send them your pre-listing communication. Now normally, and we've talked about this in a lot of the Allegiance classes, normally you want to be able to send samples of your marketing in advance. You want to be able to send your own, your social proof that you're good at what you do, your testimonials, your online reviews. You want to show them the work that you've done in the past so that they don't have to trust you that you're good at this. And when you send them a lot of those things in advance and you get that out of the way, you can spend the in-person time focused on them and their needs. And you can do that virtually as well. Send them these things in advance, give them time to go through it. And then when you have the scheduled virtual listing appointment, you can really, really focus on what is the marketing strategy, what is the pricing strategy, and how will you handle the ins and outs, the showings, the closings, all of that. Make sure that you're making it about them while you have that face-to-face time on Zoom like we have here. Well, it's not face-to-face, I can't see you, but you know what I mean. So send that pre-listing communication. Now that could be an email. You could use MailChimp. You can put different attachments. If you have BombBomb, that's a wonderful way to do it. BombBomb.com is a video email service. I can attach all of the documents. I can have links to the things that I do, and then I can have a video up top that I talk about what I'm gonna do for them, and then links for them to look at my testimonials and my marketing samples. That's a great way to do it. However you send your pre-listing communication, do the best that you can to give them information up front. By the way, if you have not taken any of our classes, we do have resources on theallegianceway.com to help you refine and improve that part of your listing process. Now, when it comes to the listing appointment itself, let's talk about doing all the basics, okay? First, confirm the appointment. Confirm with them. Maybe it's that morning, maybe it's the day before. If you're going to be doing this video listing appointment via Zoom, you need to be available to be their tech support, right? Text them and say, looking forward to seeing you online at 4, smiley face, whatever that might be. Offer to help them if they're having any issues at all, downloading the app on their phone or anything at all. Make it clear that you'll be available to them. Have multiple devices available yourself so that you'll be able to communicate with them. Prepare for the appointment. Now, again, in some ways, this is no different than an in-person appointment, all right? Be aware that you're going to be on camera and make yourself presentable, right? Don't be casual. Don't take it too casually. I know that we all have different standards for what's necessary. It's interesting to see some of the late talk show hosts are doing broadcasts from their kitchen with their kids climbing all over them, and I get that, and it's funny, but I think for a listing appointment, I would be in a clean space, be in a quiet space as much as possible, make yourself presentable, make your space presentable. The other thing is to provide adequate light. Now, because I do video coaching, I have a light setup, but I didn't always. I limped along for quite a while making do with lamps from around my house. And if you're in a situation where you have a listing that you're about to take on and you can't order a kit from Amazon and wait, borrow lamps from around your house, take off the shades if it makes it better, test it out. Turn on the Zoom, look and see what you think. How does it look? Move things around. Do a test run. If you've never done a video interview, a video conference before, test it on someone else. Make sure you're familiar with the software. Also, I think you want to practice the whole presentation on someone else. You can do it on a friend or a family member or somebody from the office, right? So we're going to do screen share in just a minute, and I'm going to show you how I would present my listing presentation to someone virtually and have the right tabs open. I'm going to walk you through that. You ought to practice doing that on someone else as well, so the first time you do it is not necessarily on a potential seller. All right, so when it's time for the actual appointment, get everything open that you want to share. And I did that today. I even have a few extra things open because I want to show you a few extra things, but I got rid of the stuff I didn't want you to see. So I don't have my email up. I don't have things that I don't want you to see. So when I share my screen, you're going to see quite a lot of stuff, but it's all the stuff I intended for you to see, and I would encourage you to do the same with your sellers. When you share your screen, you're going to walk them through your listing presentation, your contract software, any documents or reports you have pulled up in MLS, whatever that might be, that's ready to go, and you're not fishing for it, and you're not also having other things open that aren't relevant to the appointment. The other thing is to make sure that you arrive early. Show up to your own Zoom call a little bit early, just in case you have technical issues. Yesterday, I was doing story time. I do story time every day with my nieces and nephew across the country, and it was just about time for story hour, and I had about 5 minutes, and I discovered one of my monitors had come unplugged. How that happened? Well, it's a story because I was messing with my lights. That's what happened. I was messing with my lights, and I didn't realize I had jiggled loose one of the cords to one of my monitors. So I was scrambling at the last minute to make sure I was on time. You wouldn't want to have that happen if you had a seller waiting for you to be on time to an appointment. So show up early to your own Zoom appointment. Heck, they may be anxious and just be there early waiting for you. So be prepared to be early just in case. Sorry for the that's a terrible speech habit. But hang on a second while I find my place in my notes. Oh, okay, so I recommend that you recommend to them that they have multiple devices available for this appointment, all right? Now, if they could be sitting together, however many of them there are, 1, 2, 3 people, however many people, if they could be in front of a webcam like I am now, at a computer or a laptop or an iPad, that would be ideal. They need a big enough screen so they can see what you're gonna show them, all right? If they're crowded around a phone, that's gonna be a little small. But if they could also have Zoom downloaded on their phone and log into the call there as well, they can use the phone to give you a tour of the property. So set that expectation in advance that if they could be sitting at some sort of a larger device so they can see the screen and they can see the things you're going to show them, and also log into Zoom on a phone and give you a tour at some point in the interview. That would be ideal. So when they first come to the call, treat it like you always do. Welcome everyone. I'm so glad you could be here, right? Let's talk about what we're going to cover today, right? So it's helpful. This is like the structure of an essay. Tell them what you're going to tell them, then tell them what you told them, right? That's the intro, body, and conclusion of an essay. Do the same with your appointment, all right? Say, I'm so glad that we could make this happen. My intention tonight is to talk to you about the logistics of getting your home on the market, the opportunities you have in the current market conditions for getting top dollar, and how I'm going to handle all of the online marketing and showings and negotiate with other agents. Is that what you had in mind? Something like that. You can tell them what your expectation is rather than just jumping in, start on this page, and they don't know how long the book is. Does that make sense? Give them a sense of where all this is headed and then jump in. I would also ask them what's important to them. If they have any concerns, you know, make it conversational and don't be so intent on delivering your own content that you fail to make it interactive. Hang on a second, I need some water. Watch their faces. It's a different environment. They may or may not be used to communicating through video. You may not be used to it. Right now, this is slightly awkward for me because I can't see your faces. Normally when I coach through video, even when I train through video, I can see my students and I can see when they have a question, I can see when their faces change, and I can say, oh, hey, Jan, did you have a question? Were you going to say something? So with your potential sellers, with your clients on Zoom, on video, do the best that you can to pace your presentation. And maybe this is a good note for me to slow down right now, right? Take a steady pace and watch their faces. It's helpful also, rather than just charging into your content and watching their eyes, every single section, make sure no less frequently than every section, you're asking questions, all right? You could even adapt the way you do your entire presentation to make the entire thing a conversation. And guess what? Once you've done that, I don't think you'll ever go back. Once we go back to in-person presentations, I think your skills will have improved, and I think that conversational way of going through the information will stay with you. The thing that's wonderful about a conversational presentation style is you're only focusing on the things that actually matter to them. you're building extraordinary rapport, and you are meeting their expectations. It's hard to know if you're giving them what they want when you're just, you know, putting it out there. And then I do Instagram, and then there's this, and you can't tell yet that they have concerns about hiring a mover or whatever that might be. So keep an eye on their faces, have a steady question flow, and do the best that you can to make it interactive and conversational. Now, the content of the presentation, I think, should not necessarily be different or less than you would in person, all right? So whatever you normally do, I would do that. If you don't have a really on-lock listing presentation, and a lot of people that I coach and train say that, they're like, you know what, I wing it. I really deal with people who already know me and like me. I usually work by referral or with past clients, and I don't really have a formal presentation. Well, I want to recommend that we all need to up our game. Virus or no virus, having a quality presentation, having a standard professional process sets you apart and encourages those raving fans and those enthusiastic referrals. So if you haven't done it before now, this is not a bad time to start, all right? So these are the elements, these are the things that I would encourage you to go over in your virtual presentation and also your in-person presentation. Introduce them to your team, whoever your team is. Maybe you have an actual team, maybe you have a team that includes your broker, your title person, your favorite lender, your favorite trades, your virtual assistant, whatever it might be. Introduce them to your team and make it clear that you aren't just out there in cyberspace doing this by yourself. Give them the market overview, and for those of us in markets where things are more and more shut down, the market is changing dramatically. I wouldn't do a March versus February. I just don't think that that's helpful. I would do the 7-day look, right? What's happening right now? And all of us know how to do a CMA, but be very thorough. Have the comps show their active competition, right? Who's out there in the market now, map everything, and then talk about average days on market. Some of us are in markets where homes are still selling very quickly for multiple offers and above full asking price. I had a conversation this morning with someone in my brokerage, and he told me he wrote 3 offers in the last 2 days, and none of them were accepted because they didn't go 20,000 over. Amazing that we are still seeing a pace that rapid. So whatever the conditions in your market, make sure that you have a really good snapshot that you can show your potential seller. Then you want to lay out your marketing plan. Show them how you do virtual open houses. Explain what that's going to be like, and then show them all your other online marketing. Actually, maybe I'm trying to decide whether I should keep going or show examples. I'm going to keep going through best practices. I'm going to run through this outline with you, make the outline available on theallegianceway.com, and then I'm going to share my screen. So this video right here is not necessarily a recording of how I would actually do a listing presentation. This is me giving you guys ideas and then also showing you examples of how that's done. So I'm going to keep going through the outline, and then we'll look at samples in just a minute. So it's ideal if you can get a photographer into the property, right? If you're in a situation where either the property is vacant or the rules in your jurisdiction allow for that, that you can, you know, that the family can be away, they can be, you know, taking a joyride or something, and a photographer can come in and follow all the best sanitary guidelines and take beautiful photos. That's the best, right? Because the most of our showings are going to be online. So beautiful photography, videography, interactive floor plan, Matterport tour, 360 tour, any of these things that you can do above and beyond are going to absolutely set your home apart online and continue to get those enthusiastic, healthy offers. So if that is possible, please do it. I posted a link here on the Allegiance Way page for an organization, a company where you can get a 360 camera and a year subscription to unlimited tours. Incredible service. You can be growing your brand in this time. If you take me seriously and do these things to adapt to the social distancing that we're all being asked to do, these are skills that you get to take with you in the future when the market returns to normal. So take some of these tips and take them seriously. If you can't, if you're in a situation or your client is in a situation where having professional photos taken or even having you in the property is not an option for taking those photos, then have the client do it. Okay, walk them through it, give them suggestions, make sure that you have the best photos possible. And it's not our ideal. It's not what we prefer. We take pride in what we do, and we like to provide extraordinary marketing service. But if it is not an option and your client wants to sell their house, walk them through it, right? Help them declutter, help them turn on all the lights, help them position things so that they look great, and encourage them to take 2 bazillion pictures, and then you can cherry pick the best of them. So there is a way to do this either way. Okay, so remember, I'm walking you through the flow of what we're doing. So we'll talk to them about the marketing that we're going to do. We'll let them know what that's like. You'll actually show them your marketing samples, and I'm going to show you some marketing samples. You're going to share your screen and show your buyer and seller, see, this is what I meant. Here's what I do when I post on social media. Here is what my virtual open houses look like. You're going to actually show them. You're not going to make them trust you that they exist. Then have your seller take you on a tour of the home, right? Remember I said, have them download the Zoom app on their phone and be prepared to join the call on their phone, walk you through, and give them some feedback right then and there. They can also be the one to measure. If you are able to get a professional in the home or you have access to the home, you can measure. If that doesn't happen, have them measure the rooms for you. As they're giving you the tour, take copious notes just like you would any other time. Don't trust your memory. By the way, you can record calls on Zoom, so that might be helpful. For a lot of reasons, you can go back and watch it. And watching ourselves, pro tip, if you ever want to practice your presentation or your scripts or anything, just record yourself doing it and watch it. That's some pretty healthy feedback right there. So take copious notes, record the call, whatever. If you're going to record the call, of course, you need to let them know. Provide a net sheet. This is just best practice, right? You need to outline for them, here's how much the title fees will be, here's how much all this will cost you, this is what we anticipate your net will be. Always provide the same professional service that you would in person. Then go through the contracts, go through the disclosures. Most of us have a new COVID-19 addendum or clause available to us in our various contracts. So if that's appropriate and required, make sure that you're using that. Then give your seller their homework. Don't leave them guessing, right? Make this very, very structured. Make it feel like you've got this in hand. So leave them with their instructions, whatever they are, for cleaning, for replacing light bulbs, right? Whatever they need to do, rearranging things, putting things away, give them really clear instructions. If you're able to get a photographer in there, schedule that. And then leave the seller, when you leave the call, leave the seller with what is next. And this is true when we can meet in person. Don't ever walk away and say, I'll be calling. Tell them when. Say, I'll call you tomorrow at 10. That is setting that next appointment, all right? So I'm going to share my screen now and show you some of the things that I will walk my clients through. Let's see what time it is. All right. When I do the virtual listing presentation, and I have done these before, and we'll also talk about virtual buyer presentations in the future. Let me share my screen. Okay, so as I promised, I have one of the tabs open as Zoom. I can actually close that one. But I have here open all of the things that I said I was going to show all of you. And I can show my marketing or my comps, whatever order you think is best. It's quite debated. I've heard it hotly debated whether you should show comps and money before you show marketing, your choice, but I have some different examples open. So here is a net sheet with a proposed price if it sells at 465, 475, 485, and then the expenses and then the net. So always, this is just, I created this in my MLS. You do your own, you figure out how you do your net sheet. But this is not the order I would do them in. I'm realizing I don't have these in order. So you want to show them what are the properties that are similar to theirs. My MLS has logged me out, so I can't click on these links, but you want to be able to show them their competition. I have then transferred these into a short form. It's maybe helpful for them to see their neighbors' homes in a short form, and you can say, this is what we're seeing, this is what's going on, this is the active page. You can show them the under contracts and the solds. Remember, there were 17 total results for me for my target property for active, under contract, pending, and sold. Sold for 30 days, by the way. I limited it quite a lot. And normally, I think we all know we would probably go back even 6 months, depending on our market, but I only went back 30 days. Okay, so be prepared to show them the comps, show them what you're seeing, show them days on market, things like that. Here's a one-line summary. That's what they call it in my MLS. Everybody has one of these. They call it something else. When you put those 17 properties in a table, it really gives some nice, helpful summaries, you know, average days on market. We've got an outlier here. We've got one that went under contract in 1 day and one in 58 days, but the average for these 4 sold properties was 17 days. Now, 4 is not a great statistical sampling. This is not a statistics class, but, you know, I think we all know that 4 isn't good enough. But if you can show them the pace of the current market, that can be really helpful to show them how quickly things are moving even now. You'll also need to share with them that none of us knows how things may change, but that's what you're seeing now. Here's another way to show the data. You can put those same 17 properties on a map, whatever is going to be helpful for your client to see what you're talking about. Now, I'm moving very, very fast. You all need to take your time, really go through all the comps with them, show them the pictures, talk through things, ask their opinion, take notes, take your time. The other thing is, you know, we have electronic contracts in most of our markets. Have the contracts up. Don't have to go fish for those when it's time. Walk them through the listing contract, walk them through those disclosures and addenda, make it seamless, all right? Make it really, really clear. And don't make them, by the way, this is best practices in general. Those of us who have moved to electronic signatures in the last year, there are a few of us who have gotten lazy. Don't just fire off a link to a document and make them read it to themselves and say, ask if you have any questions. Most of us have very, very long legal documents. It's a perfect opportunity to practice presenting these via Zoom, all right? So make sure that you do that. We also want to show them the types of marketing that we do. And I have pulled up a couple of examples here of things that you could do for pre-listing communication and to demonstrate your marketing. So here is my BombBomb account. And this is just an example of what it would look like if I sent a BombBomb. Here's a potential template that I could choose. You could choose any one, but this says every 30 seconds, a RE/MAX agent helps someone find their perfect place. That was just the template that I chose. So this is me talking and explaining whatever, and you can see that's not what this, if you're reading the fine print, that's not what this one was for. But here's an example of what BombBomb looks like. They receive this in their inbox, they can play the video, they can click on the links, they can check out all your resources and see what a professional you are online. So BombBomb is a great way to do that. If you don't have a BombBomb account or don't want one, MailChimp is another way. And this is a friend of mine in Minnesota, and I pulled up her work because I know she has a lot of really good online work that I can show you. So I'm gonna walk you through this woman's online marketing and the way she communicates with her clients. Sure, she uses MailChimp at a really high degree. She includes articles, links, and videos in every single one of her MailChimp delivery emails. So I'm going to scroll down and show you just some of the stuff. She borrowed this. This is from Keeping Current Matters. We all have access to this particular set of slides. Keeping Current Matters has made this available to realtors to talk about, is it the end of the world or not? So she included that here. If we were to click on that, we would have access to those slides to look at that. And then she summarized it. It's always helpful when you have an image or a video to summarize the best of it so they don't necessarily have to watch the video. Then she promotes her new listing and her virtual open house. She's got a few interior photos of this wonderful new listing, and then she has a link to her Facebook Live open house. By the way, if you did not see the episode we did on the Allegiance Way Daily Dose on virtual open houses, go back and watch that one. But she did an extraordinary job here, but this was her promoting it so that people could engage at the right time. All the details about the property, and then there's the link to the professional video that she had produced. This is not this that you're seeing right here is not her live virtual open house, but the professional video she had shot for the interior of the home. Then she's got some featured listings and some other things. An aerial shot, and then she showcases her team. Wonderful. Now, can you see how long that was? I hope you're not getting vertigo. But in that amount of time, she covered that much stuff. And that's really good. And this goes out on a consistent basis to her sphere. Here's another example of one that she did. There's a video right at the top, and then some of the rest of it is similar because her inventory had not changed all that much. But she stays in front of her people in a consistent way. Here is her Facebook. So if this were my Facebook, if this were my listing presentation, I would then show them, and I would already have done so. I would have sent this in advance to my sellers to check it out. So I'm going to show you Anne's because she does a very, very good job of marketing online. So this is her business page. All right. Oh, it was already scrolled down. Let me scroll back to the top. She has a video header. She's using her Facebook business page really at a high level and showing off her properties wonderfully well. She does a lot of video content, both of her explaining, and she has a very calming presence. She talks about what's going on and how she can help. I actually watched this particular virtual open house. It was wonderful. It was long. I hopped in and out. Quite frankly, it was an hour long, but it was really good. All of it was good. So I want to encourage you. You're welcome to check this lady's stuff out if you want to see why I thought it was cool. But this is what hopefully you all have, and you can direct them to prior to the listing appointment. You can say, this is the work that I'm doing, check it out. Then when they come to the listing appointment, you can say, do you have any questions about the marketing that I sent you? Or did you have an opportunity to review the marketing that I sent you? If they say, no, we haven't looked at it, be prepared to show them. If they did, well, then take them at their word and you don't have to make them look at it all again. Here's also her Instagram page for her business. She's got a button for her listings, for her reviews, for her team, and then similar great images. So whether the people that you're working with are more Instagram people or Facebook people, do the best that you can to direct them to the good work that you're doing online. It's proof that you are ready for this job. And if you're feeling a little intimidated, because Anne does such a great job, don't. Write down the things that you want to improve about your online marketing and just start chunking them out a little bit at a time. Okay, I can see we're at 30 minutes, so I'm going to shift gears very quickly again and finish giving you the rest of the outline. So here's where we are. You have walked them through everything online. You have walked them through clear expectations. You've left them knowing what's going to happen. And now I want to encourage you to schedule more than normal engagement, all right? Follow up with them extremely frequently. Let them know when the listing launch marketing happens, right? You could even have driven by before you do the appointment with them, do a video from outside, be prepared to launch it coming soon. If that's allowed by your MLS or your jurisdiction, you can do some coming soon and really, really get some engagement, get a lot of enthusiasm up for when the house goes live. Keep them in the know about every little thing that's happening. Don't leave them out there wondering. If they're working from home, if they're also homeschooling, and I heard someone else call it crisis schooling the other day, don't leave them wondering if you're doing your job. Stay in touch on a very, very regular basis and give them an expectation in advance that you will, so they'll just expect it, all right? You'll need to navigate all of the details of the process of accepting offers and going to close, and those may be different in the next days and weeks. And then for those of us in different markets, there are some variety of there too. So I'm not going to tell you how that's going to go. It depends. Be very tasteful with your posts, all right? Be sensitive. And if you were to, like when you do like under contract or just sold, that sort of thing, there are clever ways you could do that. Maybe you drive to their house with an under contract sign writer and you do a silly little video of you spraying it down with disinfectant and then mounting the under contract. That would be cute. For that, you know, yay, we closed, you know, rather than that normal settlement picture where they're holding up the keys or everybody's hugging, maybe it's a Zoom shot. Right? It's kind of the Brady Bunch style. There's the different faces on Zoom and they're holding up their keys or they're doing a thumbs up, and you do a screenshot of that and you post, you know, so happy for my clients, they got their home sold. Those would be ways to be tasteful and appropriate and continuing to celebrate with your clients. I encourage you to do some special touches throughout the process, right? Selling your home is usually stressful, right? selling a house is right up there among some of the most stressful things that we ever do. So go above and beyond to have some really thoughtful, sensitive touches. I have a silly suggestion. Someone sent me flowers, and I don't always have flowers on my dining room table, but I do right now. And my goodness, do they make me happy whenever I see them. And I'm going to be very sad when their time is spent, and I'm going to wish I had more flowers. So consider something like that. Sending them something cheerful, send them helpful tips about staying sane when you're staying home, keep them in the loop. I know an agent who is actually reading stories to his clients' children over Zoom to give the parents a break. And he said, I'm really good at it. I promise you, you have an hour of your time back. I will keep their attention for a whole hour. That may or may not be in your skill set. Oh, so sorry for the chime. That may or may not be in your skill set, but look for those additional things that you could do, sending food, something like that. So make sure to do the thoughtful touches. You can do real estate virtually. You can. And now is the time. If you had not honed these skills before, this is a wonderful time to start. These are skills that you will take with you for the rest of your career. These will make you a better practitioner when our lives go back to normal. These are uncertain times. Improve your skills, improve your systems. We are here to help you with both. And as always, focus on what you can make better. See you next time.